Good morning, Tim. Hope this message finds you well. We're going to start it off by talking about this week's reading, where we studied about the prophetic books in the Bible in relation to the family. The prophets were men called by God to give a message to the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel was made up of many tribes of people. Within the tribes were many families. The prophets brought warning to the families. The prophets also brought hope to the families. They used many forms of speech and action to communicate their message. Much of what they say usually started with gloom and doom because of the sins of the people, the awful sins they were committing. They also preached a message of hope. They gave the people glimpses of God's plan to restore the relationship of his children back to himself. All sin boils down to selfishness. The author describes it in detail and names the sin throughout the chapters and references the verses of the prophetic books where all these sins were occurring. Idolatrous worship in the form of prostitution and adultery were called out in Hosea. The author points out that the Lord hates divorce within families, and that's from pages 108 through 109. We all know that divorce is rampant in America. Divorce is no longer an anomaly. It is the norm for our society. And broken homes, broken families are hard and complicated. They are a product of our selfish desires. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Zechariah, and Malachi all speak out against the mistreatment of the poor and underprivileged. That's referenced from pages 112 through 114. The concern for others and loving your neighbor was a problem then, and it's still a problem now. Every state is begging for people to adopt children in America. People are begging for help with cardboard signs all across America off the exits of the major highways and interstates. So it's a problem today too. Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel all address the heinous act of child sacrifice. When times get tough in those days, they thought that sacrifice of a child might bring peace. That's off of page 110. Today, women all across America will decide to sacrifice their baby in the womb in hope of a more peaceful life. All this selfishness needs to end. What if every family took just a few minutes together today and talked about the selflessness of God? Don't you think the world would be just a little bit better place? Christmas time, you see the picture behind me here, is just around the corner. We have hope. That hope came in the form of a precious baby boy, a king that will be the Savior of the world, our wonderful counselor, our Prince of Peace. I wonder what would happen if every family read the story in Luke 2 this Christmas morning and took some time just to talk about the story and think about the love of God before we open all the presents and the gifts. Without him, there would be, those presents and the gifts would never be here, and it wouldn't mean anything without him. I know you know that, and thank you. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas.